Welcome to CISO Council Media Series. I'm Ahmed Baig, founder and CEO of CISO Council, here with Tim Grieveson, Chief Cyber and Security Strategist at MicroFocus. We also have here with us Neeti Rodrigues, Regional Director for Enterprise Security for the MEA region. Tim and Neeti, welcome to CISO Council Media Series. It's nice to have you here.
Nice to be back in Dubai.
Sure. My first question to you is, Tim, how are you feeling being part of the new team? I mean, are you excited being part of MicroFocus?
Definitely, I'm really excited about the new company. Being the seventh world's largest pure-play software business, it really gives us a great portfolio to help our customers from security right through to information governance. And the nice thing is it also brings identity management to the party. So clearly, we've been experts at application security, security operations, and format preserving encryption. But with that extra part of our portfolio, really gives us a much stronger position to help our customers meet their security needs.
Now, this portfolio of wide products, how does that change things to customers in terms of automation and orchestration? Because as you mentioned in your presentation, companies are using different softwares and different solutions from different companies. The biggest challenges for them is to make them talk to each other, integrate, and create that automation and orchestration. So how does MicroFocus fit into solving this problem for them?
I mean, one of the things that we're doing is we're moving to open standards, and we're getting our product set and portfolio to talk to each other. So, it's not a case anymore that you have a closed solution. We're absolutely focused on listening to what our customers' needs are. So one of the things that we've started doing is bringing a platform to customers to allow them to integrate very easily and seamlessly. And we see ourselves as the panacea of their security operations, bringing data from all of the sources and augmenting it and bringing real data and value and insight into the data.
Sure, that's great. Neeti, you've been in this industry for more than a decade now, and you have spent most of the time in the Middle East working with different enterprise and government customers. How do you see this new change of being part of MicroFocus would help customers in this region?
It's exciting. I mean, since now I've been around for 19 years, and I have seen the whole market evolve from security perspective. And the great thing about MicroFocus is that we're investing. We're investing in education, we're investing in people, we're investing in professional services. So that's a great offering for the market and for the customers here, because we really care and we want to make sure that they have full equipped portfolio when we come and offer them our solutions. And just to add to what Tim said, we always brand ourselves as open in architecture, because we're very, very good with a few things, and wherever we feel we need to partner, we partner with the right technologies to give the customer a full perspective.
Sure.
I think that's important, actually. I mean, I'd like to add to that. It's not just about the technology. We have, people, process, and technology that help our customers. So it's not just a pure software play business for us. It's much wider than that, and it gives them, technologies which are proven over many, many years.
Tim, how do you see the threat landscape changing with the digital transformation that is being taken up by most of the organizations globally, including the government entities?
Yeah, I mean, I can see the landscape changing where the mode of operation for the bad guys changing. Historically, they went only after the large enterprise where the money was, and obviously they were out to maximize their profit, minimize their risk. We're starting to see them now go after individuals like you and I. So, I think the key thing is we need to educate the market as a whole and how to protect yourself and myself. And I think what we're seeing is, I talk about the bad guy and I talk about the data bandit being the new mode of operation. So it's not just about stealing a single source of information now. It's about taking multiple sources of information. So it might be credit card data, it might be intellectual property, it might be healthcare records. And they're really building a portfolio of offerings they can sell, because obviously that maximizes their profit. That becomes much more concerning for us as individuals, because they're stealing our identity and our lives. So it's really about protecting the individual's citizens as well as the enterprise.
Great. Tim, one of the biggest challenges is with the perimeter almost disappearing. And I mean, there's no perimeter anymore, especially with your mobile devices and with your IoT technology coming in place. This exposes organizations to much bigger threats coming down to the safety issues. I mean, the digital transformation is not only bringing benefits, it also has its own set of risks that we should be worried about, because it's not just about data theft anymore. It's also the lives of people, that's the technology is now handling or managing. Now, how do you think the organizations have to react with this bigger change coming into their management portfolio?
Well, you've probably heard me talk about the Internet of Theft or the Internet of Death.
Yeah.
Often, it's great to bring these new devices, but they are now data centers. So if you think about, your mobile device, you've got your data center in your pocket. So the shift needs to be not focusing on the device, but becoming data-centric and focusing on the data. So irrespective of where the data sits, whether it's in the cloud, in your pocket, in the organization, out of the organization, you need to think about how to protect that data. And you also need to think about, embracing some of the regulations that are out there. So, the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, for example. Lots of organizations are seeing that as a scary thing. We actually think that's not the case. We actually embrace it because it's an opportunity to harmonize your data privacy regulations, policies, strategies that we should have been doing for many, many years, but hadn't necessarily done it in the right way.
Now, with all these risks, I also see an opportunity for the CISOs globally, because now they have access to the boardroom, because security is no more a technology problem, because like Bruce Nash says, the moment you assume that the technology, security is a technology problem, you already got it wrong. Now, with this, the securities have a big chance to reach out to the business, talking about business risks that they would have and how it would impact the bottom line of a company. What kind of change do you see with the CISO community happening now globally?
So I think the language has had to have changed. I think the CISO now can help enable the business. No longer are they the people that say no. So they focus much more now on contribution, margin, business risk, business continuity, how to grow new business. So if you think of the GDPR, for example, and I just talked a few moments ago about it being an opportunity, think about it as understanding the data that you have in your business. If you understand what you have, you can start to value it. If you start to value it, you can start to get insight into it. So it's not just about compliance, it's also about optimization of resource, which allows you then to have the right people with the right skills in the right place, which obviously reduces or repurposes your cost. But it's also about opening and exploring new markets. If you understand the data, you can target your customers more appropriately. So the change has really been about the language. The CISO isn't talking about IDSs and IPSs anymore. They're really talking in terms of business outcomes, business enablement. And if they do that, I think there's a real opportunity for security to go wider across the organization. And we're seeing a lot of that today. It's no longer the CISO and the security team that's getting involved in GDPR. It's legal compliance, it's HR, it's finance, it's the CEO, it's the CFO. So it's the first opportunity we've seen to really bring security to the forefront of every business's mind, and it's winning the hearts and minds of the business.
Sure. Neeti, my next question is to you. I mean, now you're working with a wide array, a wide portfolio of products in MicroFocus, which is much more than what you had in HP Enterprise. Now, how do you see this wide array of solutions helping the customers in the Middle East? And how do you think it also helps them to orchestrate and automate the solutions when they buy from you, or use it with the other products that they already have in their environment?
Very valid question. So, the marriage of the two companies, it's exciting because, first of all, as you know, MicroFocus comes with a 40 years legacy of solutions. And then we have the HP software, which comes with 30 years of legacy. So the marriage of these two entities has really brought in a very solid portfolio of solutions for customers. And the good thing is that obviously the whole focus is on how can we create more value for customers. So analytics is really the blood of all the solutions that we're looking at, because big data is coming in such a broad and open form to all of us. So right now, if you look at most of our solutions are powered by Vertica. So from a perspective of security orchestration and automation, We're always open architecture. We're still partnering with multiple vendors that can work with us. We don't limit our customers to only have an architecture which is MicroFocus centric. We can have some MicroFocus and still have a broad line of solutions. So as a combination, I think it's an excellent opportunity for customers to benefit on.
Sure. Tim, picking on your presentation that you had in the morning, one of the things that caught my mind is the number of days it takes for an organization to actually identify that they have compromised. And if I'm right, it was 99 days, which has come down from 140 plus days. And you also mentioned that the actual time that it takes for a Middle East organization to identify the same compromise is much higher. What do you think the Middle East organizations and the CISOs should be doing to bring it down to a much lower level?
So I think there's still a lot of work to do, and you know, it's not just the Middle East. I'll sort of stress that. You know, it's many organizations across Europe. The number I gave was a global number, and obviously that's augmented by some of the larger countries such as the US. I think the first thing that organizations need to do is stop focusing on the past. Stop just focusing on search. As Neeti said, you know, bring analytics into the mix. Bring intelligent operations together. Bring the people into the process, and really do a maturity assessment and look at your security holistically. It's not about point solutions. And often what we're seeing in the Middle East at the moment is a point solution being deployed to solve a problem, rather than looking holistically at security. If you look holistically, you actually get a better understanding of your security posture. If you start to bring in data analytics and make sense of that tsunami of data, you get a much clearer picture of what's going on, where it's going on, and how you can actually fix it. But then if you start to bring and bake security in, so think about application development, for example. If you bring that in earlier in the stage, you shouldn't have to be remediating a breach. You know? And I think the other thing is to accept that you've already been breached. You know, I've talked about this before. It's not the if, it's the when. And if you come with that mindset, the things you need to be focusing on is, you know, is thinking and building privacy into your organization, using and bringing together more of the people within the organization as a whole. So it's not just about IT, it's not just about security, it's everybody's responsibility. Yeah. Choosing the right partners and the right vendors, I think that's really important. There's so many of them out there. Yeah. So look at, you know, people like MicroFocus, as Neeti said, has got the expertise, we've got the right people who've gone through this already. And we ourselves have, you know, gone through massive transformation, so we can help customers on their journey too.
Sure. I think most of the times the CISOs are busy doing the backfixing of the internet vulnerabilities, and with IoT coming into the picture, I think this is going to increase even more. Some of the latest statistics have clearly indicated that more than 70% of the attacks or compromises have happened with known vulnerabilities. Why do you think these vulnerabilities are not being patched?
So I think it's 84%.
Yeah,
it's actually larger. I think part of the problem is two things. Organizations don't necessarily know what they're looking at. So they haven't got a clear database of their systems. They're dealing with vulnerabilities as a cause of a breach, rather than actually building it, baking it in, as I said. So if you think about the perimeter not being the device, but being the data, and actually thinking about the application as that access point, if we start to build and bake good security in from the application development stack upwards, you start to, you know, reduce those. You know, a great statistic is the number 1 and number 2 vulnerabilities were things that were back in 2009. You know, for example, Stutnet. Those vulnerabilities are still in existence. And I think it's partly because vendors are about getting things to market faster, cheaper, anywhere access, and they think about security as an afterthought and a bolt-on. So I think we need to challenge the vendor community who are building these IoT devices to be more transparent about the vulnerabilities they have, but actually us as technologists really focus on the basics. You know, we're all trying to chase that latest piece of technology, you know, whether it be cloud, whether it be big data. Actually focus on the basics. And, you know, the report that we did recently on the state of security operations said that 82% of organizations weren't aligned to their business needs. And more than 20, I think it was 28% of those didn't actually meet the minimum standards. So do the basics, do them well, and don't see the standard as the place to aim for, see it as the baseline to work up from.
Sure. Coming down to my last question, Neeti, how do you see MicroFocus engaging with the customers in Middle East with the new organization and new team in place?
So right now, we already having more people that we're investing in. We're hiring, so that's good news. We're growing as a company. We have new offices, so it's exciting for the customers. And of course, what we have done is to enable our partners and our customers, we've built demo centers. So for customers to see what we are, to believe what they're going to actually get, they can visit any of our demo centers or see the products online, something that they can experience with. We're happy to be part of this journey and help them. And please feel free. Our team is very, very enthusiastic and has been around. So look forward to this.
Sure. Tim and Neeti, thank you for your time. Tim, it's great to see you back in Dubai. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time in Dubai.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to the next trip next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.